Hi there. We are going to talk about our learning theory newsletter. So it comes from PLNU Co. And this is the October 2020 issue, Volume 1, Issue 21. So stay tuned to learn a little bit more about our two theories, one being information processing and the other being multiple intelligences, or also known as the theory of multiple intelligences. So, as you tune in, I'm going to go ahead and share a little bit about information processing first. So, as you can see, there are stimuli that are coming in and out of you and even through our thoughts every day, daily. Right now, I see a computer in front of me, I see a ring light, and I'm thinking about, I hope I really get a good grade on this assignment. So there are all these things that are coming in and out of my brain. How do we stay sane, right? How do we do it? Well, the brain is a wonderful piece of artwork as it processes different stimuli frequently throughout the day. So there are many ways to process thoughts and stimuli. Information made available by the environment is processed by a series of processing systems. And as I was reading and doing research for information processing, it likened our brain to a computer, or more so, it likened the computer to our brain and how it processes things, right? And so something that I thought was really interesting for learning theory was the attention. There's selective attention. And I think this is very interesting because I always think that I have bad memory, which I do, but I think it's because of selective attention. And my husband has told me multiple times, you just have selective attention. I didn't realize that was a real thing, and now I really believe it. Because of this learning theory, I really do think that if our attention is not solely on what we're doing at that time, our brain is trying to multitask, and that is not the optimal way that our brain could work. It's not the most effective way that our brain can work. And so I just thought that was very interesting. That's the most important thing that I got out of it today, was that kind of reassurance that I'm okay. I'm not sick, and my brain is not failing me. So some of the key words for information processing are, like I said, selective attention, output processing, input and storage processing. There are many more, but these are the ones that I did choose to talk about today. So many people use selective attention without realizing it, right? So that was me. That is why there are moments that people may not remember. So if you're not, like I said, if you're not really tuned in, zoned into what you're doing and what you're talking about at that time, are you going to remember? Perhaps, but is it going to have longevity? Probably not. Now we are going to move on to multiple intelligences. This was also very interesting to me, as I see that people are different. All people are unique and have their own ways of processing information. Sometimes I feel like I'm on the slower end of things, but that's not because I am slow, but that's because I process things in a different way. So the theory of multiple intelligences is a very interesting theory. How someone processes information is entirely unique to them. Each person has a strength in how they learn. The theory of multiple intelligences gives insight to into what are different ways that people learn. Typically, people fall into one of these 8 categories. However, like everything else, you can fall into multiple categories. Like you might fall into the spatial or the musical. You might do a little bit of um, maybe even the naturalistic kind of learning. You learn from your environment, from nature, but you also are keen to the musicality part of who you are. Maybe to memorize something, you use a jingle, right? So those are just ways that we can learn, and that we can use these uh, multiple intelligences to our advantage. Um, so right here we have a diagram, and it shows all 8 types of intelligence. So I'll start off with spatial, then there's naturalistic, musical, logical, mathematical, existential, interpersonal, bodily kinesthetic, linguistic, and intrapersonal. So they are all different ways of learning. Maybe someone learns by um, the intrapersonal is looking inside themselves and they know that they can do it. What makes me, the first thing that I think of is, what is her name from Brave? Merida. She is so brave, she is so sure of herself, and she knows that she is capable of so much, and she's just trying to prove it to everyone, especially her father. So that's what I think of. Maybe a bodily kinesthetic would be someone dancing. They can learn maybe how to remember their body parts and maybe their, I don't know, I can't even remember that. There is a class and anatomy, right? So they're trying to remember or memorize the anatomy. So they're doing dance moves in order to remember that. There are all different ways to learn, and I chose to spotlight spatial processing. And this features the potential to recognize and manipulate the patterns of wide space as well as patterns of more confined areas. These thinkers tend to be artistic. They tend to think in images and pictures to visualize precisely and abstractly. So that's why I added a picture or a camera here, because a lot of times photographers um, are just so artistic. And they see things in such a different light, and it's not necessarily lesser than, let's say, a linguistic learner. It's just different. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope you learned something about our learning theory today. Thank you so much.